families were over the moon when Karim and Awa announced their decision to get married. It was as though the sun had risen twice in one day. Awa, with her stunning looks and enviable education, was every mother's prayer and every man's dream. You made the right choice, my son. I told you would find a wife here. Alhaji, Idowu said with pride, patting Karim on the back as though he had just won an international award. Their marriage preparation kicked off with the energy of a political campaign. Date fixed, venue chosen, cows already marked for slaughter. Within days, the ball spread around the village like a Harmattan fire. Awa's mother couldn't stop smiling. For the first time in years, she wore her finest wrapper without needing a reason. She stared at her daughter with tears of joy in her eyes. You made the right choice, my child, she said over and over again. You have wiped away the shame I carried. I'm so proud of you. Even Zainab, our married friend, stood in stunned amazement, hands on her waist like a market woman trying to possess shocking news. So this is how Awa just got lucky like this. Just like this, Dubai level. Hey, God, I'm not angry, but I'm watching you. Then came the big day. The marriage ceremony was nothing short of a royal festival. The village square was transformed, decorated with bright fabrics, canopies, and balloons that danced in the wind. Plates clattered, drums turned, and singers sang Awa's name like she was the last bride that would ever be seen. The aroma of jollof rice, grilled drum, and puff-puff floated through the air like a divine calling. The villagers came out in full force, men in starched kaftans, women in matching lace, and children running around with mouths stained with zubu. There was food, there was music, there was dance. Even old Malam Kudi, who hadn't stood up in weeks, suddenly felt strength to dance Shakira. And when Karim finally looked into Awa's eyes and said his wedding vows, the crowd erupted like a stadium. Aunties, uncles sprayed money like politicians, and Khadija cried tears of joy, holding a wrapper to her chest like it held her own life. It was a wedding that would be talked about for years. When the celebration finally ended and all of the guests had eaten themselves into silence, Karim helped his new bride into the car with the whole village waving and singing behind them. The car drove off in a cloud of dust and blessings. Awa leaned back into the leather seat, smiling to herself as the city skyline slowly came into view in the distance. Finally, she thought, my real life is about to begin. Their married life in the city kicked off like a dream. At first, everything was magical. For the first 3 months, Awa was living the kind of life village girls only whispered about under mango trees. She and Karim traveled from one exotic country to another, checking off every destination she had ever cycled in her dream notebook. They strolled hand in hand through the streets of Paris, sipped cocktails in Dubai, and even fed giraffes in Kenya. Sometimes, Awa would stare at the mirror in the luxury hotel bathroom and ask herself, is this really me, or am I in one of those fairy tales with soft music in the background? Karim was full package, gentle, romantic, generous, and fine. Like a man carved on a dollar note, Awa often looked at him with teary eyes and whispered, you are a gift I don't deserve. Their days were filled with joy, luxury, dinners, laughter, endless shopping, and long kisses on sandy beaches. For Awa, life wasn't just good, it was delicious. Eventually, they returned to Karim's base in Abuja. The mansion was like something from a fairy tale. High walls, lush gardens, marble floors, a driveway so long that you would need a motorbike to reach the gate. Awa stood at the entrance, jaw hanging like loose earrings. Then her eyes caught the sleek luxury car parked inside the compound. A giant red ribbon sat on the bonnet, and on the windshield were the words, "Welcome home, my bride." She screamed. The kind of scream that made a security man drop his phone in panic. She ran into Karim's arms and hugged him like she was trying to squeeze love straight into his lungs. "You are the best man on earth!" she said, already crying and laughing at the same time. I must have done something amazing in my past life to deserve you. Karim chuckled, lifted her off the ground and kissed her deeply. You are my wife, he whispered, and I will do anything to make you happy. But isn't there always a but? A few weeks later, after the excitement of their honeymoon had worn off and the routine of life set in, Karim began to notice something troubling, something that poked at his speech like mosquito at night. At first, he had fallen for her brilliance, or so he thought. Her sharp tongue, her wit, the confidence she exuded when they first met. It all painted a picture of a woman who had dreams, big ones. And Karim, he adored ambitious women. But at last, he had miscalculated. Apparently, her one and only life goal had always been to marry a wealthy man. And now that she had secured that position like a political appointment, she had absolutely no plans beyond that. None. Every day followed the same sacred ritual. Sleep till 11 a.m., be served breakfast in bed by a maid who now knew how to deliver toast with extra butter and a side of air bonnet gossip. Spend hours scrolling through Instagram, call a driver for shopping spree she didn't need. Return home, watch movies, eat, nap again, and maybe, just maybe, pick out new wigs online before bedtime. Karim watched all this like a confused professor studying a strange test. It wasn't just the money she spent, though, that could buy a small island. It was the fact that Awa lived life like it was a never-ending vacation, as if also was a sickness and ambition was an insult. He had friends, real men, whose wives were running successful businesses, managing clinics, hosting talk shows, selling imported bags from Turkey. But his own wife, the only bags she handled were designer brands that cost more than some people's rent. The more Karim thought about it, the more it disturbed him. What if something happens to me? He asked one night. What if the business crashes or I'm no longer here tomorrow? Would I even know how to sign a check, let alone support a family? She had never wanted. Babe, I want to start a boutique, or I'm thinking of launching a skincare line. No, it was always, should I do short coily wigs? Or bone straight? Or, baby, look at this necklace. It will go well with that pink shoes I bought from Milan. Nothing more. Karim sighed deeply one evening as he watched her giggling over a TikTok dance video. To others, he had a perfect wife. But deep down, something didn't sit right. And that something was beginning to itch. One midnight, while the rest of Abuja was peacefully enjoying the sweet of sleep, Karim sat wide awake, staring at the scene like a man burdened with 1,000 thoughts. His chest felt heavy, his head full. The silence in the room was loud, too loud. He turned slowly and looked at his wife, who was sleeping peacefully beside him like a pampered cat coiled on velvet. He couldn't take it anymore. Hawa! He whispered at first. No answer. Hawa! He nudged her gently. Wake up, I want us to talk. She stirred lazily, rolling over with a grunt. Karim, you know I've really been stressed today. She mumbled, eyes still closed. Can't it wait till morning? Karim blinked in disbelief. Stressed? He echoed. From doing what exactly? I left for work in the morning. You were sleeping. I returned late in the evening. You were still sleeping. So tell me what part of your day exactly was stressful. The pillow flipping, how I eased and stretched like a bird princess. Please, Karim, she muttered. I married you because I thought you understood the kind of woman I am. I am only cut out for a soft life. You see, the sleeping is part of my beauty routine. I work very hard to look good for you. You think this fine face is free? She gave a dramatic air flip. You should at least appreciate how hard I work to look this good. Karim stared at her like she had gone crazy. Was it really his wife or a lazy goddess sent to test his blood pressure? Eventually, she sat up clearly annoyed. So what is this thing so urgent that you can't even let me sleep? Karim sighed, deeply rubbing his temple. Our marriage is not about eating jollof fries and snapping pictures. It is serious business. Very soon we will have children. I want them to have a good life, a stable one. I'm not the kind of man who believes a wife should sit at home doing nothing. What if something happens to me? What if something happens to my business tomorrow? Howard's eyes widened with shock. Over my dead body. I reject it. She shouted, clutching her chest. Karim, are you planning to die? Why are you wishing yourself bad luck in the middle of the night? It's not about wishing myself bad luck or planning to die, Karim said, trying to stay calm. It's about being prepared. That's why I want you to start doing something for yourself. No one can tell when bad things will happen. What Howard said next nearly knocked the sleep out of Karim's brain. Karim, you are wicked. So this is it. She yelled, eyes wild with rage. I can't believe you actually woke me up in the middle of the night to tell me this kind of nonsense. Are you a witch? Karim sat back stunned. This was going downhill fast. You disturbed my beauty sleep for this rubbish talk? She continued. In case you don't know, this is why you met me single in the village. Go and ask. I had plenty suitors carrying plenty, but I was not born to suffer. That's why I turned them down. They can't give me the kind of life I desire. She was now on fire. She stood up pacing around the bed like a motivational speaker on Red Bull. My mission in life is simple, she declared, to enjoy and live soft. And that is what I am doing. Do you even know why I fell in love with you? Because he said, and I quote, a beautiful maiden like you should not suffer. But starting a business is not suffering. Karim pointed out, I will set up any kind of business you want. I just want you to have your own money so that you can support the home when necessary. But Awa had already crawled back into bed, pulled her blanket over her head, and was snoring within 30 seconds like a contented goat after a full meal. Karim sat there wide-eyed and sleepless, his mind spinning, eyes fixed on the ceiling once more. What have I gotten myself into? He thought bitterly. For the next few weeks, absolutely nothing changed. If anything, as soft life graduated to ultra soft, she slept like a baby bear in hibernation. Never saw the morning sun, had breakfast in bed as though it was a prescription. Dressed like a senator third wife and eat the mall with the elegance of a queen on a spending spree. She had found herself a clique too. Some shiny new friends from the estates who were just like her, jobless, fashionable and fully invested in looking important. Karim, on the other hand, was losing it. The whole situation was pressing on his nerves like a tight abaya in hot weather. After that late night argument, he had tried to revisit the matter several times, calmly, forcefully, even with PowerPoint slides if he could. But Awa was still always dismissive. Each attempt turned into a full-blown episode of wife versus logic. Then one morning, after watching her snap selfies in front of the mirror for 45 minutes while their maid served her orange juice with crushed eyes, Karim said to himself, enough is enough. If talking won't work, maybe shock therapy will. That same day, while Awa was busy planning her next hangout, Karim was planning something else entirely. By afternoon, Madam Awa had dolled herself up like a fashion influencer. Nails sharp enough to slice yam, hair styled like a Lagos bride, and heels that clicked louder than her conscience. She wanted to show her new friends just how stupidly rich her husband was. It was a soft life proof of fun's mission. They all walked into one of the best and finest restaurants in town, complete with mood lightning, blowing music, and plate that looked so expensive to eat from. They ordered everything shiny on the menu, sticks that looked like they had a trust fund, wines that could ruin a student's school fees. The laughter, gist, and fake accents were on full display. Then came the bill. Awa flipped her hair, brought out a card like it was a magic wand, and handed it to the waiter with a dramatic smile. The waiter returned a minute later, his face blank. Madam. The card declined. Awa blinked. Try it again, she said. He tried it again, still saying insufficient. Impossible. This This is our joint account, and I've been using this card since forever. Try it again, or maybe your machine is dirty. The waiter had given a small sigh. Please, madam, you need to make your payment. Her so-called friends began exchanging the kind of looks that screamed. We knew she was faking it. Not one of them offered a word of comfort or reached for their backs to help. Awa, now sweating underneath her expensive lace, pulled out her phone and dialed Karim's number. Karim, she hissed, trying not to sound so desperate. I'm at a restaurant and I just tried to pay, but the card says insufficient funds. What's going on? Oh. Karim replied casually, as if she had just asked him where he left the TV remote. Here, I pulled all the money out. Sorry, wife, you will have to handle that one with your money. Awa's eyes filled with tears instantly. Her voice cracked like a broken radio. Karim, this is wickedness. Do you know how embarrassed I am right now? I have a meeting in 15 minutes, Karim. Do you know how embarrassed I am right now? I have a meeting in 15 minutes, Karim said with zero remorse. Please sort yourself out. Karim, you are a devil. You are. Karim. Hello? But he had already hung up. She lowered the phone and stared at it like it had just betrayed her. Then she turned to the waiter. How much is the bill again? She whispered, her voice barely audible. 1.22 million naira, ma. He replied. Calmly, I was turned slowly toward her friend, now suddenly quiet and glued to their seat like mannequins. I don't know if any of you can help me. Just be, it's a loan. I will transfer tonight or tomorrow morning, please. They looked at her like she had lost her mind. He invited us here. One of them scoffed, and you can't even pay your bills. Is it not your rich husband again, Abby? Has he just stopped being rich today? And just like that, a crew vanished. One by one. They picked their bags and walked out, like it was an audition, and Awa had just filled the script. The manager of the restaurant approached Awa with a smile, too fake to be comforting. Since you can't pay, madam, you will have to walk off the bill. We need you here for let's say 6 months. It's 1.2 million naira, right? You can start work with cleaning. Before Awa could agree, she was handed a mop and a faded apron. That was how Madame Soft's life. High-class Awa of Abuja found herself wiping the same towel she had previously stepped on with pride. Tears streaming down her cheek as she scrubbed the floor, muttering curses under her breath. God will help you. Karim, Allah will judge you. I swear, this marriage is a scam. I'm finished. Me, Awa, a cleaner. But no one was listening. Even the waiter that brought her mop walked like human. Awa returned home late that evening, exhausted, humiliated, and smelling faintly of mop water and cheap air freshener. She entered the house to find Karim seated comfortably at the dining table, sipping a glass of juice and scrolling casually through his phone, as if his wife hadn't just been sentenced to a life of tile scrubbing. Why, Karim? She busted into tears. Why would you do this to me? Karim looked up, slowly, his expression as calm as a monk. How could I? He repeated coldly. No, how could you? Awa stood there shaking, her designer heels now broken. Her once perfect makeup was now an abstract painting. How? Karim continued, setting down his glass. You didn't tell me. You lie on that bed all day like a lazy princess, straight out of a failed fairy tale. I asked one simple thing, pick a business and I will fund it. But no, every day you spend millions on wigs, wine and he rushed to his feet, eyes flaring. I have had enough of your nonsense. You are unbelievable. Karim, Hawa snapped, wiping her tears angrily. Do you know what I went through today? The kind of embarrassment I was put through? Today, I was detained at a restaurant. I've been forced to work like a maid. 6 months, no pay. Just today alone was hell. Good, Karim said, letting a small smile creep across his face. That's excellent news. Actually, at least now you will learn responsibility. And just like that, he turned around and walked out of the dining room, sipping his juice like someone who just delivered a TED talk. Karim, is this a joke? She called out after him. No reply. The one passed. They two crawled by. The three limped along, and still, Karim treated her like she was made of air. Meanwhile, she resumed every morning at a restaurant, dressed in that oversized cleaner uniform that smelled like detergent and defeat.